Oh man. Okay, let's see. Okay. Wanted to do this. I started doing this and then I said, okay, let me make a little video about it. So there's a reason why sometimes I'm not sure if it's a good idea or a bad idea um, to either purchase patterns or to take time to make my own patterns, right? Now, I've decided that if I'm just going to make a bag for myself, like some people are beginners, right? You're beginners, you don't own a business. And so you just might want to make a bag, right? You may not have a sewing machine. Um, you're not sure if you want to invest in a sewing machine or not. And so but you still want to make bags. You still might want to make something for yourself, whether it's a shirt, a bag, a purse, you know, a backpack or whatever, right? I don't see a lot of people hand sewing on the internet. And I know why, because like for those of us who have sewing machines, hand sewing is a lot. You know what I mean? It's time consuming. But if you just like want to start, maybe you're not even an adult, you're a teenager, and you just want to find a hobby and you would like to start making some things, and you don't have the money to invest, then hand sewing is the way to go. Let me tell you, hand sewing could be just as good as a sewing machine. The difference will be time. But I think, like when I was young, I actually used to hand sew. Like I only had access to a sewing machine when I went by my grandmother or when I was in home ec class, right? But at my own individual home with my parents, there was no sewing machine. And so I used to sit and create my own things myself, right? I was embroidering and I didn't even know it was called embroidery because I was using thread. Um, and I would put an initial on, like, let's say a shirt. I still have that shirt that I made years ago somewhere around here, like when I was a teenager. I was a teenager. I ended up with a my one of my aunts had a book, and in this book was stencils, or it was like it was like a stencil, but it was pages. And if you wanted to put something that was in that book on an item, like a shirt, you would iron it on. And like it was like the ink from the page would go onto the item you was creating. So my first name started with an L. So I put an L. So I took the page with the L out, put it on top of the shirt, and I ironed it. And then the L was on top of my shirt. And then, like, I was just creating this out of my head. I didn't know anything about embroidering. I had never seen nobody do it before. I didn't know what it was called. I was just thinking as a teenager, I was like, wow, you know, this would be cool if I can put this L on my shirt. And how am I going to do it? I'm going to sew it. So I stenciled the L on, and then I took regular thread, and then I sewed inside that L, around it and inside of it, and bam. And I still have that shirt today. Now I haven't seen it in a couple of few years, probably since I moved here. I haven't seen it. I used to wear it even, you know, throughout my marriage with my children and all. We moved here close to 10 years, so I haven't seen it since. It may be in storage or it may be here somewhere, right? But anyway, so I'm thinking, and I'm not sure for sure if I want to uh, do the hand sewing, because if I don't find it valuable to anyone, if I don't see anybody really wanting to participate, then I'm not going to do it, because the truth be told, I have 5 sewing machines. I have an embroidery machine, you know what I mean? So there's no need for me to hand sew. But every once in a while, I still do hand sew, you know, a closure or a button. And sometimes it's easier for me to sew buttons on. There's hand sewing involved, you know. I'm not really fond of it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not fond of hand sewing because I don't have to hand sew. But for those of you who don't have a sewing machine, you can make some great items. Now, what I'm doing today, though, I'm making a pattern. And I started to make the pattern. In fact, I almost have the pattern done, but I'm not completely done. Or should I say pattern pieces, right? So Halloween is fast approaching, and I wanted to make a backpack or a either a backpack and or a bag, right? Either a handbag or a crossbody bag. So what's the difference between those things? Well, y'all know the difference between a backpack and a regular handbag. Of course, I don't have to explain that. But what's the difference between a crossbody bag and a handbag? Well, a crossbody bag will be maybe slightly smaller, but more importantly, it's the strap that can go over your neck, around your neck, and cross your body, right? So it crosses your body and sits on your hip or somewhere in this area, right? You can have a handbag that is also a crossbody. I'm gonna show you that in a minute. Let me see. Let me show y'all a few different things I've made recently. So I just finished this bag. If you're on my other channel, you saw me sew this last week. Actually, this week. Well, this is the weekend, so this week passed, right? And I finished it. I told y'all it was a mini duffel bag, but that's because the way it's cylinder, right? And I made it to where it could be a crossbody because I put these D-rings here, and I could make a crossbody strap and put it on this bag, and it would also be a crossbody strap bag. But it is small enough to where it would be comfortably on your across your body. Okay, it is small enough. So it would be the crossbody strap, which is longer. It may be adjustable or it may not. The only reason you would make an adjustable strap is if you're selling the bag, right? But if you're making a bag for you, or even if you're making a bag for someone and you know their measurements, like you know how tall they are and things like that, you don't have to make an adjustable strap. You know, so I'm this is the thing about the internet, right? And learning on YouTube. People, and this is no fault of theirs, right? I'm not saying that they should do this, but I am saying that you may be learning something or doing something that is not necessary because you may be following someone who is doing something and you like the look of it. You like the look of it, and so you too start doing what they're doing. But most of the people you're following are people who are selling items. They're making money by you viewing them. But for the most part, they start selling their items. So they start having you make adjustable straps. They started having you making, things that you may not need, putting things on the bag that you may not need. It's good to have if you need it, but if you don't. So if I was making this bag for myself, I would not have put these D-rings here because I do not wear, I do not use crossbody bags. It's just not my thing, right? I think it's cute for me to have my bag on my arm like this, or I think it's also cute if I'm holding it like this. That's me though, right? So if I was making this for me, I wouldn't need to put this here. Also though, if I was a crossbody person and I decided to put the D-ring here, when I create the strap, I would need it to be an adjustable strap, right? Because I would know how long I like my strap. I would know how long, where I want this bag to fall on my side when I wear it. And so therefore I would use just enough. Now, why is there a difference between an adjustable strap and a regular strap? Material, right? Material. So let me show you. I have something here. This is going to be a strap. And this strap is going to go, for those of you who watch me make this bag, right? This is the backpack. This is a backpack slash could be a crossbody bag, and it could be a hand bag, right? Because the person could hold this like this and walk with it. Also, when I put the straps on the back, it's going to be a backpack. They could put it on their back. Plus, I put the D-rings on the side where it could be, when I make the strap, it could be a crossbody bag and fall to their side. This is a small enough backpack that the person who buy it could use it any way, any of those ways. But material is what's important. If I was making this for myself, yes, I would have used this. I would put this here, right? Also, because I do hold bags like this, right? Also, if I was making this just for myself, yes, I like the backpack, right? I think it's cute. I don't know if a backpack, right? I would put the straps there, but what I wouldn't have done, I wouldn't have put these D-ring on the side. I wouldn't have done that because I don't wear crossbody bags. So I would have saved myself some money and materials. I wouldn't have needed the strap connector here, right? I wouldn't have had to create this. I wouldn't have needed to use these. I think I end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 D-ring connectors on this bag. And by the way, D-ring connectors cost money. Okay, D-ring connectors are not cheap. You might pay a few dollars and only get 4 of them. Sometimes you pay a few dollars and you only get 2 of them, right? Especially because if you creating a bag for yourself, then it could be cheaper hardware. But if you're making a bag to sell, then the last thing I would want if it's somebody bought a bag from me and then within a year they have a problem with the zipper, or not even so much with the zipper teeth. I don't think people have problems with that. You could end up buying some cheap zippers where the zipper head you may have issues with the zipper head, or the zipper pull portion, right? So I invested a little more money in a little more heftier hardware since I am going to be selling this bag. Now, when I was mentioning with the materials, this is a strap that's going to be the back of the backpack, right? This is the part that you're going to be putting around your back to hold it on your back. This is one of them. You need 2 of them, right? I need 2, one for this arm and one to go on this arm, right? So this will be an adjustable strap. See how long this strap is? This is just for one arm. And not many people's arms are that long to where you need it to be this long. But the problem is, suppose someone bigger, with bigger arms, purchase this bag. Or let's see a kid, somebody buy this bag for a kid. This is one of those bags that you can give this to a kid, a teenager, also, and an adult, right? It's one of those mini or smaller backpacks, right? This is a small bag. It's not small, but compared to a regular size backpack, which is larger, maybe, maybe a couple of inches or all the round larger, which equals a lot, okay? It equals a lot. So this is a cute little bag. It's cute. It's not the mini, because now they're making minis, which I will be making this weekend also, a mini. Let me show you the size of the mini. This is going to be the mini. And this is, after it's sewn together, it's going to be even smaller than this. So this is going to be the mini mini, right? Which people are wearing across their front. They may be even wearing it across their back. It probably fits your makeup, your cell phone, what else? Just some odds and ends, your keys. It's when you don't need a whole lot of things. Okay, you're not gonna be able to fit a iPad or a pad of some sort. Not gonna be able to put things like that in this bag. In this bag, though, I made this bag big enough. The person who requested me to make this bag, wanted a bag. They didn't request a certain style. They wanted a certain color and a certain size. And she wanted a, a, a tablet to be able to fit in it. I asked her, did she want a mini tablet? Because you could put a mini tablet in this. So I asked her, I said, you want a mini tablet or a regular size tablet? She said, when she texted me back, she said, regular size tablet. This is a regular size tablet. So I made this bag. Y'all saw me when I made the pattern for this bag. So I made this just so that tablet could fit in there. And then with that being placed, you can put other things in there also, right? It has a zipper pocket. It also have a slip pocket. Now I'm gonna be honest. I saw this pattern. Somebody online had this pattern, right? I thought it was cute. I liked the design. I was like, oh, that's cute. So I looked at it and then I made my own pattern just by looking at that bag. That's what I want to show y'all how to do, right? And the reason, I'm gonna tell you the reason why. People online are crazy. And I don't mean to say that in a nasty way, but I'm gonna be honest, okay? If I was a person who just want to make myself a bag, $10 for a pattern is outrageous. Okay? And they're getting even crazier. These patterns are now going from anywhere from $10, $12, $15. That is outrageous. This is just squares. This part is a square, and then you put some curves at the end. Bam, or a rectangle, right? Rectangle, square, however you want to look at it. What's the difference between a rectangle and a square? Y'all already know. Rectangle is just longer at one end. Both ends are not the same length, right? So I'm just telling you that everything about this bag is either a square or a rectangle. And so I can go to Joann's and get a pattern for $5 or less. Now, yes, we all see the patterns at the top. It may say it's $30. And even when it's $30, you get half off. And that's just every day. Regular day, you ain't paying $30 for no pattern, right? And then when there's coupons that could be used on that, which means you ain't even paying the $15 after the half off. You're going to be paying way less than that. I've never paid more than $2 for a pattern. Actually, I did. One time I paid for a Vogue pattern and it wasn't on sale, right? Or was it on sale? I think of Vogue patterns, when they go on sale, they'd be something like $3.99 to $5.99, right? But we all know that you could get a Simplicity, McCall's, or others. When they go on sale, they like $2.99. $2.99. And online, these people are putting squares together and selling them for $10, $12. I've seen a pattern for $15. And then they're not even giving no discounts, no sales. It would be something if you charging $10, but you have deals, right? Where we can wait for the deal. Some people have a deal once a year, right? Black Friday. We got some people where if they drop a new pattern, then they'll offer 10% off. I'm like, what the fuck? 10%? And only when you dropping? So you want people to buy your new pattern, but you only giving us 10% off? Like I can't even wait around to buy 4, 5 of your patterns. When you give deals, I just gotta decide to either get it or not. Or you could do what I'm about to show you to do. You could look at a bag and make your own pattern. And here we go. I'm sick of these motherfucking people. You know what I mean? Now, if you're making bags for yourself, this is what you want to do. I'm thinking about just going, because I'm going to tell you something. I've watched these people. This is what making me mad. It's not the idea that they're looking to make money. This is what I'm about to tell you. And if I'm lying, you could check it out yourself, right? These people come out with patterns, but they only come out with these new patterns after they see somebody else drop the pattern for free. Right? This pattern, this bag here, right? Remember I said I saw this pattern and I liked the design. The only thing about this thing I liked that I liked was the 3 colors, which is simple to make, right? But because I was like, look, I don't know, right? Because I wanted to be small. I never made, I don't know what's the difference between large and small. So I look on YouTube. I'm not even joking. I look on to YouTube. There's so many people who are giving you their measurements in their pattern. Most of them don't speak English, or they're not even speaking at all, but they give you the pattern pieces, sizes, right? So all you need is a ruler. So, because, I'm thinking I don't want to pay $10 for that pattern. I'm going to just make me a bag, myself a bag, and I'm going to, and it don't give you no different options. It's not like a McCall's pattern. A McCall pattern, when I buy McCall's pattern, it may give me 7 different sizes, right? It may give me different options on how to do the sleeves. You know what I mean? It gives me different looks. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Look A, B, and C. And even that don't cost $10 goddamn dollars. And when you buy this pattern, I know who exact this pattern here comes from, right? I know the person who put it out 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I know who they put it out, and it wasn't a pattern. It's like it's for free. They give you the size of this. They tell you to cut a square this size and cut a square this size and square this size, and things like that. That's where this pattern originated from. Now, the person who redid it and then sold it, well, that's another person, and I know that person too. The person who's selling it for like $7, $8 versus the person who actually gave it to them for free. I know both. Okay. So that's why I don't feel bad about this video that I'm about to do. I don't feel, originally I was like, nah, I'm not going to mess with, the people who are making the patterns and selling them. I'm not going to say anything bad. I'm just going to let them make their money, which I am. I don't have no problem with people making money. But, if it takes me 3 hours, which it don't, it took me a half hour to draw this out, and I'll show it to you. And I'm thinking about other pieces I may want to create with it, or not. But let's say it took somebody, let's give it 5 hours. I'm gonna be generous, and I mean that's hugely generous. It does not take nobody 5 hours to make a couple of squares. Okay. Okay, it does not. But let's say it took somebody to sit down, design a pattern. It took them 5 hours. And let's even say they wanted to make $100 an hour. Okay, let's say they want to make $100 an hour for their work creating that pattern. So that's 5 hours, $100. That's $500. That's, ooh, Lord, that's a lot of money, but that's good. Okay, they wanted to make $500 on that pattern. Let's say that. Okay, cool. So most of these people who doing bags on YouTube, when they sell patterns, they selling lots of patterns. I'm talking about, it's a shitload of us. It's thousands of us in these bag making groups on Facebook. Not even to mention the ones who not even in the groups, who just on YouTube, right? We in these groups. So let's say one person sold their pattern. They're selling it for $10. And they just wanted to make $500 on that pattern. They said, okay, this was worth $500 of my time. At $10, they've made that $500 long time ago. As soon as they drop it, they make it more than $500. Then it's one of them things that resells and resells and resells, and they never have to go and adjust it. They never add anything, and even if they add something to it, it's called the add-on. Like I saw somebody added on a bag, right? They sold the bag, and it's a nice bag, but the shit is high, right? And then on top of that, if you want to add a face on the bag, then they selling that, right? They selling the face for the same amount as they sold the pattern for the bag. And the face is just applique, where you cut out some ears, cut out some eyes, and then you sew it to the bag, right? And then they started putting more add-ons. I saw an add-on for $30. The add-on was just like if you wanted a dog, a bunny, a frog. And I was like, God damn. For real? Now, would it be worth me $30 to buy that pattern? Hell no. Look, see, some people are confused. This is the thing that's confusing. If you want to make a bag for yourself, great. Even if you got good at it, great. Let me tell you the thing about people in today's society. People do not want to pay what you're going to have to charge for a bag like this. Because a lot of people, now listen, I'm not saying none, right? This bag, I'm pricing this bag at like $65. And I promise you, that's my cost. That's my cost, right? If I made this in regular fabric, I could probably take this down. We talk about hardware, and time. Actually, at $65 is a cheap bag. If you look anywhere else for this bag online, anybody who bought that pattern, and I didn't buy that pattern, right? I made my own. I did this myself, right? It took me a couple of hours, and that's only because I wasn't prepared. I just picked up everything and said, "Let me see if I could do this." And then I sat down and I started doing the mathematics, which is easy. I'm about to show you how easy it is. But if you go look and see people selling this bag, right, in various colors, this bag is $100 and anywhere from $110 and up. If they use regular, real leather, then this bag goes somewhere like almost $200. If they use what I use, this bag is like $110. That is a fact. And the reason I say that is I like making bags because I just started making them. I like the way they look, right? And things like that. And but the truth is, it's not going to be a lot of us who are going to be able to make a business out of this. Not the way that like if somebody come, I make a bag, and then I can't keep making these bags, right? And then putting them out because they're not going to move like that. It's the person who want this bag, right? She told me what color and what size, and I didn't tell her how much, right? I didn't tell her how much. Okay, when I put the straps on it, I'll take a picture, I'll send it to her, and if she wants it, she want it. And if she don't, she don't. If she want a cheaper one, then I'm gonna have to let her know. If you want a cheaper one, then it's gonna be different material. And it won't take me long to make the bag in a different fabric. In fact, it takes a little longer when you're dealing with vinyl and stuff like that. I gotta make sure the stitches are right, so it won't tear even. I have to make sure when you're talking about backpacks or book bags or whatever you want to call them, they have to be able to withstand some weight. And so that's why it's a little different, right? But if you just want to make a bag on your own, then I'm going to show you. Now, Halloween is coming up, and I've been wanting a bag like the one I want to make. That's a couple of custom bags I want to make, right? And so, like I come in my mind, I said, damn, I want a bag shaped like a coffin. So I went online and I looked and I was like, wow, there's coffin bags already, right? So it's not my idea, even though it's my idea, but it's not an original idea, right? I was thinking, okay, so I want it shaped like a coffin. Last year, y'all remember I did one shaped like a Ouija board. Um, I'm not sure if y'all, that's when I was having a problem with my embroidery machine. That's when I found out I was having a problem. I was trying to stitch out that Ouija board. So I made a bag like a Ouija board. And I didn't make a big bag though. I ended up making a wristlet. Came out nice, right? I did many tests because my machine was messed up, but I ended up making the bag and that bag sold. Okay, that bag sold. Anyway, this year I'm want to make a coffin bag. I thought about it earlier. Actually, I thought about it last year, right? I was thinking, also, I want to make a, remember, I think I told y'all I like Prince. I want to make a Prince bag. And I was thinking about doing a guitar bag, right? It's going to be a shape like it's a electric guitar in purple, and maybe embroidered on it or not. And then I found somebody here on YouTube though with one, and I was like, and she has a pattern. So when I looked at it, I was like, okay, truth be told, I don't need to buy her pattern. I can create that bag. I could create that bag. And then I went online and saw on Pinterest, there was people who already was making that bag before she made that bag. And so we go back to, we got people doing exactly what I'm about to do, right? When I look at a bag, like this bag here, right? I've never made bags before. I could sew I've sewn all kinds of things. It never occurred to me to sew bags and shoes, right? I started out sewing things like curtains. The very first thing I've ever made on a sewing machine was in school, and that was an apron. Apron, it seems to be the very first thing we all end up, an apron. Y'all watch me make aprons and pants and skirts and shirts and bralettes. And then I'm starting to make the bags, right? I've been making them for a couple of years now. And I want to go to the sneakers. If it wasn't for COVID, I would have already started making sneakers and shoes. But the reason that slowed me down, COVID, is due to getting soles. You got to buy the sole of the shoe. And I saw a good price in China, and now it costs a hell of a lot of money on the shipping. The soles themselves are reasonable. The shipping on the soles, that's no, that's not reasonable. I don't have the money. If I had a business, if I already had the money put in and that was the route I was going to go for sure, that would be an investment that I would put out. But I don't have a business like that. Right? So anyway, here we go. This bag came out really nice. It's soft, but this is one of them overnight bags. That's what I call it, right? An overnight bag. It has a little slip pocket on this side and on the opposite side in the same exact spot on each side, right? And when you zip it or unzip it, it has a slip pocket, which is split in half on one side. Okay. And the reason I wasn't going to put a pocket inside of it, the truth be told, because if you fill it up with clothing, then you really don't have no room in there to be putting anything in a pocket. You see? So this is one of them bags where if you're going overnight somewhere, or you don't even have to use it that way. You could put anything in it you want and keep it pushing. But that's what I created it for. That's what was in my mind when I made this bag. Okay. And I didn't want it all the way around this fabric. So I put a black at the bottom to kind of break it up. But this pattern was really should have been like one piece. And I didn't make it one piece because I used what they call directional fabric. And directional fabric means it has words on it, and you don't want the words to be back upside down on one side. Okay, so I did see people selling a pattern like this, but I looked at the bag. I can go to any place, look at a bag, and then I say, okay, I see what they have here. Slip pockets are easy to make. You know what I mean? A basic construction of the bag. This is my first circular bag where I use circles on the side. Okay. I think I could do better, right? But that's probably me trying to be perfect, because I gave this bag to like 6 people. I had them look at it and I asked them, was there anything they see going wrong with this bag? I said, inspect it. Like, they inspected and they did not see what I see. Every time I make something, I see something wrong with it. And then I get nervous and I'm like, I can't sell this, but nobody else sees what I see. So it goes back to me thinking that that's because and so I'm not gonna show y'all what I see because nobody else sees it. So that just means I'm being super hard on myself. That's all. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna see. I put this here so I can put my phone so we can see what I've done so far. I want to make a coffin bag. So I made a coffin shape, right? Drew it out. I put my seam allowance because I want the bag to be, I want it to be able to be a backpack. It's going to be about this size, but not exactly, right? It's going to be smaller than this, but I didn't want it to be too small. I saw a pattern online that I could have bought, but it's not what I want. Think about that. So I'm seeing women and men, right? But mostly women, they buy a pattern and then they even themselves say, well, they changed it up. They bought a pattern and they changed it up. Like, it's the weirdest thing. They're advertising for that pattern, but then they themselves said, well, I changed it up. And I'm thinking, well, if you changed it up, you're no longer using their pattern. And if that's the case, then why buy the pattern? Right? I know some of these people are advertising the pattern, right? Somebody is giving them the pattern and then they make the videos to show you how to put the pattern together. And then, so those 2 people in business together, they profit and you know what I mean? But you and I, we don't have to partake in that. Because once you learn how to make bags, once you construct 2, 3 bags, you don't no longer need to buy no patterns. Okay. I get nervous every time I make my own pattern, I get nervous. That is true. I keep thinking, damn, suppose it don't come together in my mind, right? And it's me just being hard on myself, because a pattern is like, every pattern is just a puzzle piece, right? You take the puzzle pieces and you fit them together, sew them, and then the end recreates an item, whether it's a pillow, whether it's a pair of shoes, a bag, a shirt, pair of pants, whatever. That is how these things work. Okay. And you can sew with your hands. Okay. Now, anyway, I'm how many minutes I'm in? God damn, I talk too much. It says I'm 44 minutes in. What? Oh my God. That gotta be wrong. But okay. Oh Lord, have mercy, me and my rambling. Okay, listen. I want to make a coffin bag. That means shaped like a coffin. I'm going to try to make it a backpack, but yeah, I think I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make you okay. So there's only a couple of things that makes a bag from a backpack to a crossbody bag, and that's usually adding the stuff on the back, right? So this could have been just a regular handbag, like this with a crossbody bag. But I ended up putting something up here, here, and here, right? I put a D ring here and 2 down there. Okay, I could just put one strap. I could use the crossbody strap and make them put it in the back. And, you know, if I want to, that's all kinds of way of doing this, man. Now, let me see. Let me move that out the way. So, but if I'm making pattern pieces and I want to make sure, like I'm going to add with this pattern will be able to be created into a handbag or a crossbody bag or a backpack. And if people did that on those patterns, then now it's worthy. But most of the time on those patterns, they are not even giving you the straps. They writing down strap measurements. And by the way, strap measurements are the same from bag to bag. So that essentially ends up giving you pattern pieces, and then they listen, it's ridiculous to pay all that money. Now I am gonna make a pattern, and if y'all want to, we'll start out with something like something like this. Let me see. Something like this. If we're gonna do hand sewing, I'm sorry, it's gonna have to start like this, y'all. Something like this, which is nice, right? It could be 2-tone, 1-tone, zipper pouch. Zipper pouches come in different sizes. You could, of course, you can make it larger. You can make it even smaller. And this is something I'm gonna show y'all how to. I will show y'all how to put a zipper in and everything by hand. But I'm gonna be honest, y'all gotta people gotta really truly say they want to do it. Because otherwise, I have sewing machines and I don't need to hand sew. Okay. But if people want to do it, then I will do it. Otherwise, I could show you how to do this with a sewing machine. Right. But yeah, you could put in zippers, D-rings. You could make a bag by hand. But the difference is it will not be a day or two. It may take you a week. It may even take you a month, depending on your work schedule, like how long, but you may be able to do it in a day. On some real shit, I mean, if you have the time, you can sit in front of a TV, watch TV, and sew. So yes, you can make bags by hand. In fact, I'm saying that if you make a bag by hand, it may be easier for you, right? Because if you don't know how to use a sewing machine, and if you don't, you know what I mean, you can sit there and just stitch. There's several type of stitches. The main stitches you're gonna use is what I call a back stitch, and the running stitch. The running stitch is gonna get you far, right? The back stitch is more of a sturdy stitch, and it looks like a sewing machine stitch. Okay, the sewing machine, I could get through the top of something in like a minute, and it may take you 5 to 10 minutes to sew a zipper in by hand. Okay, I think we can make something like this by hand in like an hour sewing it. But of course, in a sewing machine, I can make this in like 10 minutes, maybe less than 10 minutes, depending on how fast I'm going. And I know I can make something like this. Once I got all the pieces cut out and everything, I know I can make this bag in 10, 15 minutes, right? But by hand, with a liner, it's going to be a little longer, but it may take us an hour, a couple of hours to make this by hand. I don't know. I haven't sewn one of these by hand. I think once you learn how to sew by hand, I think there's a lot of things you're not going to have to do, because by sewing it by hand, there's some stitches you don't have to do. You don't have to do every stitch that you would do on the sewing machine that you would do by hand, right? Because once you learn how to hide stitches, you will put the lining piece together with the outer piece, and you would just stitch. With the sewing machine, though, I'm putting zippers in the opposite way, zipping it through, then I'm turning it up, then I'm top stitching it, right? But if you're sewing it by hand, you just gonna put it in place, and then you're gonna top stitch it. You might do a running stitch to keep it in place, and then top stitch it, or there's still tape and things like that. So we can make bags, even this bag. To be honest, I did the inside of this bag by hand, right? I'm not even done with this bag exactly yet, because I haven't I didn't do the binding, which I hate the bag with binding. But I decided that I'm gonna bind it, and I'm gonna bind it by hand. Some of y'all don't know what binding means, but it just means they cover the raw edges. And only on the sides here do I have raw edges, and that's because the way I did the bag. Like, I decided when I because this is a circle, and I was looking for perfection. I'm telling you, it's hard doing these goddamn circles, right? Because I do have a piece of foam in there, right? Now, if I was doing this by hand, yeah, I think if I was doing this by hand, I don't know, with the handles and stuff, I think that it would have taken the same amount of time, to be honest, right? There's some things that would have taken them up, like doing these handles here, right? I don't know. I don't know. I'm bad with timing. I guess I would have to sew one by hand, and I will see. I don't want to do that unless y'all want me to do that. Okay. But anyway, let me see if I can get y'all close up to this. I have the coffin panel. I looked online. I was like looking to see what the coffin shape is, and then I did some measurements, and then I put it there. The first time I put my measurements, I said, well, that's a good size. But then by the time I sew it together, I'm going to be taken away, which is called a seam allowance. So then I went back and I added the seam allowance so the size doesn't change, right? So I did a 4-inch seam allowance around. Then, so this will be the front and the back shaped like a coffin. And then let me see. I'm gonna add my phone so we can show it, so I can show y'all what I'm talking about. Let's see. With a phone, iPhone. That's why I like Zoom. See, people talk about Zoom is worse than StreamYard. I'm like, shit. And if you can't take your phone or your iPhone or your pad and share anything from that, then StreamYards ain't shit, right? It can't be nowhere near like Zoom. Anyway, I shouldn't be cursing because this is my other channel. Now give me a second now. Let's see if it comes up. Okay, let me close that up. Okay. Okay, there we go. So I wrote my pieces. So that's shaped like a coffin. I'm not see if y'all can see that. You probably can see them lines underneath too, but that's because of my cutting board, right? Which do not buy this cutting board unless you use scissors. So I had to start cutting my pieces by scissors when I use this. And the only reason I'm using this because I'm on my bed right now, y'all. I have a sewing cutting area downstairs. I don't want to go down there though. Okay, so that's the coffin shape. And so this is gonna be, I need to cut 2, and I'm cutting 2 because I have the front and the back, right? So I cut 2 of the main pieces, 2 of the lining pieces, interfacing and stabilizing. That's only depending on what type of fabrics you're using. Okay. And then now, see, so this is the top of the bag, right? And I want my zipper to go from here all the way to this side. So that means all of that gonna be zipper. So what I did, I measured this, and then I said, okay, that's the top, that's the zipper panels. And so here are this is my zipper panel. I wanted to make sure that this is as long as I need here. And the reason and the way I did that easily was I measured from here to the middle of this, right? And because it's easier, instead of going from here to here, since I'm going around curves, I went from here to the center of here. I measured this and this, and then I, of course, times 2, right, would give me this whole circumference. And so, but from here to here is what I did from here to here. So this is from the middle to that one part. And then I made a square, triangle, right? I'm sorry, a rectangle. Was I saying triangle before? I think I was saying triangles. I'm sorry, y'all. Rectangles. Hold on a second. Let me sit down. Because I'm standing up. Let me grab it. Uh-oh, don't move that. I rambled too much. This video is long. It's dark because I put the phone down, but as soon as I pick it up, it's gonna be a little better. It's gonna be a little better. Now, for those of you, I'm not telling you not to buy patterns because I'm going to sell my patterns as well, right? But it's going to be really cheap. You know what I mean? It's going to be really cheap, and I'm gonna still show you how to make your own. You make your own, and if you don't have the time, then you could buy it, but it's going to still be reasonable, right? It's still going to be reasonable. So. But I'm showing you now, if you pay attention, I'm giving you ideas on how to make your own pattern, right? You don't even have to use nobody's pattern if you don't want to. This one is a little odd because it's an odd shape, right? And to be honest, when you're sewing oddly shaped items, it is better to use hand sewing. So if y'all wanted to make this pattern, make this bag with me, we can do this by hand, and I'm willing. It's gonna take us longer, but we'll do it. I'll do this by hand. Okay. Now, so everything fits like a puzzle. If I took this off and cut this, I will be able to put this piece up here. Just like I said, I measured from the center of this bag at the top, and then I went to the part where I want the zipper to end, right? From here to there. And then when I measured it up there, I went and put that measurement here. Okay? That's what this measurement is. Okay? Now, as far as the width of the bag, it's how wide do I want the bag? And I think I set it on 3 inches wide. So it's going to be 3 inches wide. And it's going to be, I think this ends up being something like between 11 and 12 inches. Let me see. I should have wrote it down, y'all. I usually should have wrote it down. But based on, we're talking about the finished, 11 inches. I put it right at 11 inches on the finished. Now, the pattern piece itself is going like 11 and a half inches in height. And that's because of the seam allowance. So once it's sewn together, okay, so see this part between, well, let's do it down here. See between here and here, that's the sewing part. That's the part that's going to be gone. This part between here and here going to disappear with the sewing, right? Because the stitch line is going to be right on that line right there. That's a good thing about sewing by hand as well. When you sew by hand, you can draw your lines on and actually take the needle and go whoop, 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 on that line. You're going to have a great bag at the end. Okay? To be honest, it's going to be a nice bag if y'all want to do it. And it don't have to start with this one. It could be another, right? Something a little easier than this. Okay, this is not a hard bag to do. As you see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern pieces. 2 of these, 2, right? No, I'm sorry. It's only, when I say 2, I'm sorry. It's going to be, I cut 2 of these because it's front and back. 2 of these because it's both sides, right? The right side, left side. It's going to be 2 of these because this is a zipper panel. And the zipper going to go down the middle. And the middle is going to be, you're going to have a zipper panel on this side, a zipper, and then a zipper panel on the other side of the zipper. Okay, that's how the zipper panel works. Okay, but you only have one bottom, right? You don't need the bottom. You just need one at the bottom, right? So that's the bottom pattern. And the way I measured this, the bottom is, after I have this shape, I measured from this point to that point. And that gives me my bottom. The width of everything should be the same because the width of the bag, right? I want the bag, I think I did it at 3 inches. Let me check. This is the side panel, right? as you can see, this is the height of the side panel, but this is the width of the side panel. And so it's right at 3 inches. You see that? This is right at the 3 inches. Now, you don't go to this because this is my seam allowance. So this is how the ending of the bag would be 3 inches wide. And that is how you do all the width of all the pieces. Every piece that I have in width will be 3 inches because the bag is 3 inches in depth. All the pieces height depends on where the pieces go. So the side panel going to start from here down the side. Remember, because at the top is where the zipper part go. So the side pieces go from here to here. And on this side from here to here, right? So let's say let's say you draw a bag size, whatever bag, however the size of the bag you want to be, right? Let's try. Okay, so let me see if I can set this up. Give me a second, y'all. I really don't have one of those. Give me a second. I'm gonna show y'all. I might try to take this brace off. I'm scared, so I'm gonna be honest. Okay, I'm scared to take the brace off. Let me see, y'all. I hope this works. I think it might be too heavy. Let me see. Is it upside down? It's too close. You're gonna do it like, and then I'm gonna just put this. I don't want to mess up my pieces. Don't mess up the pieces, guys. Don't mess up the pieces. Okay, we're gonna see. We're gonna aim that up a little bit better like that. Okay. So let's say you wanted a bag and you decide you want the bag to be, I don't know. Let me find my pen, smaller ruler. We're going to just do squares. Like most bags are deals with squares and are rectangles. I think I may have been saying triangles. I thought I said rectangles, but I don't know. Okay, if I said triangles, I'm sorry, I meant rectangles. But most bags, if you look at your bag, you see lots of squares and rectangles. Basically, that's how most things are. Even when you're dealing with something that looks like it's a even dealing with that the coffin shape, the truth is here's a square at the top and then a smaller square at the bottom. Okay, but let's say you wanted a bag and you say you want the bag to be, I don't know, you want it to be 7 inches high. So I'm gonna go from the beginning of my ruler here and to here is 7 inches. I know y'all can't see it clearly. I can't really show it to you because I'm holding the pen, right, and the ruler. But let's say you wanted a 7 inches, right? I don't even need this ruler because well, y'all can't see. It's too close. Something going on. I have grid lines here. Yeah, let me sit my ass down and do this another way. Give me a second. It's hard the way I'm doing it. Okay. I'm gonna just draw the lines, okay? I don't even need to draw the lines. See it? Because I have a grid underneath this paper. That's what I can see, that y'all see. But I drew a line from here to here. And if you count, this is 7 blocks, which means that's 7 inches. So and we're gonna do a bag that's 7 by, you don't usually have a bag that's a complete square. So usually they are rectangles, okay? It might be long-wise than it is height-wise, right? So I'm gonna just do a square 7 by, let's do 8. 1, 2, 3, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is the 8, 7 by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so I made 7 by 8, okay? 7 by 8. I'm just making a square, or it's not really a square, right? Because the square is 4 equal sides. So I hope I don't have to say that anymore, please. Okay, a square. When I say square, I may not necessarily mean actual square. Okay, but I'm talking about a rectangle. Okay, because squares have 4 equal sides. Rectangles are not equal, right? All 4 sides aren't equal. Okay, 2 sides will be equal. Okay, anyway, thank you. Because I know some people come and say, you're dumb, that's what happens in our community. Sorry about that. Anyway, so I have a square here, rectangle. Ooh, and I decide that is basically what I've decided was the height and the length of the width and the height of the bag, right? Yeah. So this will be the width of the bag. This will be the height of the bag. Okay. But now the next thing we need to know is what's the depth of the bag? Do you want the bag to be 2 inches? Or do you want the bag to be 3 inches? Do you want to be 4 inches? Like, how wide do you want the bag? And generally, how wide do you want it to be from the front side to the back side? Okay, so remember, these squares are inches. So if I go up here, this is 3 inches. If I just do something like this. Okay, and then I go there. Oh, now, I did take art, so I do know how to draw. I don't know how to draw people and shit like that, but I do know how to draw buildings and shit like that, right? Houses. Okay, so I'm not. I do know how to draw a bag if I want to, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just go up and see. So this is the height of the bag. This is the width of the bag, and this is the depth of the bag, right? And so if I want to do 3 inches, then that bag is going to look like this. It's going to be this, right? And that height. So when I want to do the sides, let's say I want the pieces for the size of the bag. Then I measure from the top to the bottom, right? That will give me the next piece as far as how the height of that next piece, but how the depth I want, that would be the width of the next piece, because that piece goes on the side, right? Anyway, Lord, I hope I'm explaining this. Maybe when I do the pieces, when I put everything together, but what I want to say is that that's what this is about. So we're gonna go back to my pieces. This is the side panels. And the side panel, if I measure this right here, if I measure this, right, which it looks like it's 8 and wait, which one am I measuring? I'm sorry. Let me measure the original. It looked like it's 7.5. Then that means the side panel should also be 7.5. Where is that? Let me see. Where am I? There you go. Well, let me measure that again, y'all. No, that's closer to 8. It's close. I'm measuring wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go. The original. You can do it the seam allowance or the which color. If I want the size after it's sewn up, or do I want the actual size? You do need to know, because you got to add the seam allowances in all the pieces. See, I added. If you don't, like, let's say I have the seam allowance in this piece, but then when I cut out this piece, I forget the seam allowance, then it will fit together, but it will not fit together right. You'll be able to sew it, and you'll have to jam it. You'll have to actually start making things fit. You'll have to make them fit. but they will essentially fit, especially just a fourth of an inch. A fourth of an inch is a lot, but it's not just a fourth of an inch loss is a lot because it's lost on this side and this side. Okay, so a fourth and a fourth, y'all do know it's a half. A fourth of an inch and a fourth of an inch is a half of an inch in total. So you'll be losing a whole half an inch. Now, is a half an inch a lot? Nope. But a half an inch could be a lot if you're losing it. If you're losing it on different sizes. If you lost a half an inch on this side and a half an inch on that side, now you done lost a whole inch. So with bags though, it don't really matter. I'm gonna be honest, right? With clothing, it matters a significant lot, a whole lot. But with bags, it don't matter. So if I had forgot to do a seam lines over here, you know, and both panels on each side was cut with the same pattern piece, then no, it wouldn't matter. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Okay, it's not that significant on items that where the size don't really have to be exact, because you can always, yeah, you can make that fit. Nobody would notice unless somebody went in measuring. You know what I mean? Like if I told y'all this bag was, which I'm not sure what it is. Let me see. I made this a while back. Let me see what this is. That looks like 7 inches across. Yeah, 7 and 5 by 7. Yeah, 5 by 7. So it's 5 by 7. So if I told you a 5 by 7, and most people are gonna say okay, but then on top of that, I think I did it like 2 inches in depth. See, because I boxed out them corners, which is the easiest way to do a bag. And it gives you, see, it gives you that depth. See that? That's about 2 inches. Yeah, exactly 2 inches. See? And that's what make these bags wide. See how wide that bag? You can make a flat bag, and then you could learn how to make a bag, a real good bag that will stand on its own, like that. Okay. So that's my beginner bags wasn't like this. My beginner bags were flat. I learned how to put a zipper in, and I didn't have tabs on it. When I started forgetting tabs, this is a great bag. It could go, you could connect this bag to your backpack, to your purse. You could put it inside your bag, and you could put a wristlet on this bag and just take it out with you. Like if you went to the club and you don't want to really be holding a big bag, but you need your lip gloss and things like that, right? This bag really is, I made this bag as a snack bag. I put a lining in here that's washable. And when I say washable, I mean you could wipe it out if you needed to. You could put some snacks in here, chips and things like that for the kids for lunch. And then when, like, let's say it was Cheetos and then it had the pieces of cheese in it, you just take a damp cloth and wipe it out. Because this is, it's like a I forget what they call it, PVC, something like that. Okay, and it's wipeable, and it's also, if you wanted to, I have one where you could put liquid in it, and it'll hold the liquid. Okay, because it is fabric. Okay. Anyway, I hope I explained that. I might have to make this video again. Okay, but yes, the pieces, this bottom panel here portion, if I measure the bottom of what's going to be the bag and put it and measure this, it will match up. Okay, I know because I measured it. That's how I created it. Okay, and that's how you make the pattern pieces. So you can look at a bag, everybody, look at a bag, and you may not be able to tell what their exact measurements are, but it doesn't matter what their measurements are. because you create your own measurements. How wide do you want the bag to be? How in depth do you want the bag? So people need to be, I used to have to just be comfortable with my bag not gonna be exactly like their bag because I don't want to pay. But then again, my bag might absolutely be just like their bag, right? Because I don't know what their measurements are, but just looking at it, I'm probably about an inch, within an inch, definitely within an inch, close. Because you can look at a bag and tell. You might not be able to tell that that's 7 inches exactly, but you know that it's not 10 inches. You know what I mean? You know it's not just 2 inches. So you could guesstimate. Okay. And then, but it don't even matter what my inches are. What size bag do you want or need? That's what matters. So if you want a bag similar to this, you want it to be a little higher, and you want it, let's say you want to make this a clutch size. You want a clutch, right? Because clutch, you clutch it. You can also put a D-ring on it, and you can also put it so you can have it on your wrist. And you can also, now they make the ones where you hold it like this and your hands kind of get under it, and there's a piece of something making sure people can't just come and yank it from you, right? But anyway, it's about what you want. And see, that's my issue. When I was buying patterns, I felt like, hey, I can make that bag, I can make that pattern myself, right? But then I was like, but suppose it don't look like that. Like, suppose mine is a little too big. Suppose mine not, maybe my curves are not as curvy as theirs, you know. Like for example, you have a bag. Let's say I'm just gonna use the same square, but you want, maybe we're not gonna make this be the bag. Maybe this is a flat, and you want this to be curved. So not a piece is like this, curved, right? I used to think, oh my God, like suppose the curve not deep enough. And even up here you want to curve because you don't want the piece to be, you don't want it to be a circle, of course not, but you don't want it to be squared off like that. It does look better with a gradual curve. But you see, I did them curved by my hand. I didn't use anything to measure. Now, I can't, what you learn is that you put your curves how you want. Shit, if you wanted to, you can make that a V. You can make this sharp into a V and put it flat and put a little something, a snap, and so that it'll go like this. It'll be a sharp cut like that. The pattern piece would be like this, right, to the center, and then from the center, of course, they go that way. Now you can't do it the way I just did it like this, because what you would do in this case is you would cut this piece out, squared off, then you will make whatever you want on this side, whether it's a curved edge or a sharp edge. Then you will fold it, and when you cut it, you will cut this whatever side, right? And it will be equal on this side. Whatever you do on this side will be on this side because you took the piece and you folded it like this. Let me give you an example. Let me see. Piece of something. Is there anything I have close by that I can just cut? The invoice for something I bought. Who knows? Who cares? I might need it for business, though. I do need it. I think I'll cut that. Here we go. I'm gonna lay that down, y'all. It's gonna be dark for a minute. Absolutely. I'm gonna take the phone off, y'all. I don't think I need it right now. Dollar bill, y'all. Let me see. Let me stop that. Share. Okay. Ooh, that was too much. I could have did most of that here, but when I'm drawing, so I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna just use this piece of paper. Let's say I have a triangle, right? Because it's, I'm sorry, I said triangle again. A rectangle. I have a rectangle, right? And I decide that I want What's I gonna use? This is gonna be a flat tilt bag. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw out how I want the flap to be. And let's say on one side, I do want the flap to be kind of graded into like a, now you could use, if I wanted it to be, I could use something circular, right? Let me see if I have anything. Let's say, no, that's too small. I need a bigger circle than that. Let's use something like this. Okay, this had, even though it looked like it's a triangle, it has like a little rounded area here. So I'm gonna just trace that area, right? Okay. So this was the one I just traced with that. Okay, not this. This is the one I did, but this is the one it did. So then I would fold that. I just need it on one side. Right? I fold it, and then I'm gonna take some scissors. They gotta be paper scissors, not your fabric scissors. Okay, because I'm cutting paper. And then I would just cut that out. And see, and then when I open it, what's on one side is on the other side. See that? And so you don't have to worry about people's exact measurements. You don't have to follow everything to there. It's your item. You're making it. And the reason for the pattern is so you can recreate it. So once you make your pattern, make one. And if you like everything about it, then you have the pattern pieces to keep making them for family and friends if you want to, right? Or maybe one day possibly for a business if you want to. But you don't have to buy other people's patterns. Okay. Now let's say, remember, there's some clutches where that piece is in the front is like a triangle, right? So now let me get a, see the cut. So the paper is folded in half, so I know where the midpoint is, right? That's why it has to be at least folded, or you have to at least know where the midpoint is. And then you take your ruler, and depending on how high you want it or low on the sides, you just make you a line to the center there, right? So I only have the center drawn on one side, right? Not on both, just on one. When I take the scissors and I cut that line, it has to be cut in half. Right, so I cut it, and now the flap can be, and remember this is a flap, y'all, so maybe an idea what that looks like. This would be like, let's say, and that's the flap. You would put a whatever you want to put down here, whether it's a magnetic snap or some other kind of snap. But see what happens, whatever you do on this side, because it was folded in half, happens on this side, and it'll be equal. And so you don't have to worry about when people say their pattern has little marks, and you think of where the marks on their pattern is going to give me, and then they're going to have the circle, portion there for you already done. But all you need is a ruler or something round, whether it's a plate or a cup, to give you the roundness. Okay, and that's what I did with this bag. I'll show it to you again. Oh, let me come a little bit. Okay. And I saw the pattern, and so when I created this little flap right here, I could have made it I could have did whatever I want. Like, there's so many things you could do when you're creating your own patterns, right? So I'm saying some of these people make bags and their bags look good. But the thing is, could they make a bag without somebody else's pattern? And you can make a bag without somebody's pattern. You can make a bag that nobody else has. Or if let's say it is a pattern I watched somebody on YouTube because see, I've been looking right to see. I saw somebody make a bag. They went to the one like if I'm correct, it wasn't Chanel, but it was one of these very expensive bags shops right online. They were using some type of software, and they looked at the bag on the site. They guessed the bag on the site tells you what the finished measurements are. That's the thing, right? I could go and recreate an exact replica of them bags, right? You go on there, you look at it. you can look and force, they give you the measurements of the finished bag. That's all you need. The seam allowance is what you want it to be, right? You might feel more comfortable with a larger seam allowance than I do. I'm okay with a 1/4 seam allowance. Some people might need a half, 5/8 seam allowance, and some people might need a whole inch seam allowance, right? It's what you feel comfortable when you're sewing and what type of machine, depending on the type of machine you have, you might feel like you need a wider seam allowance. When I'm working on my machine downstairs, my industrial machine, because I have a walking foot and I don't want to change the feet on it to smaller feet because it's not as quick as me using my domestic machine. I have to get the screwdriver, hurry up. Even though it don't take that long, I don't want to switch out feet. So I might make my seam allowance a little larger when I'm working on that machine than I do when I'm working on the domestic. Okay. Oh no, I shouldn't have. I didn't look and see what this was. This is life insurance paperwork. Oh, okay. This is when my mom passed away, y'all. This is a life insurance policy and notice of life insurance claims. Okay. I look when he got my mom's name on it or my dad's name on it, I'll throw it away. So I'm kind of regretting that I did that. But anyway, so this is something I made, right? The honest truth, when I made things like this, I don't know, like these are simple things to make, and I was so nervous making them. Now this is like, hey, don't take no time to make this, but I'm gonna make one by hand, right? Probably record it. Maybe I'm gonna see. Look, it depends. I'm gonna be honest. I do not want to do it, but I am willing to do it, right? I do think though. I think it'll be a good thing. I can't find anybody hand sewing here. I see there's some people. I forget what they're calling it, but they are hand sewing, but it's little squares and with designs on it, which is cute as hell. But I'm not spending no 3 hours on no, little design just so it could be a 3x3. I'll be, that takes forever. What am I gonna do with that 3x3? What am I doing with those things after that? And I don't make quilts. And if I would to start making quilt, I would not be spending an hour on one little square. But yeah, I don't do quilts. That's not my thing. I don't even like quilts. Okay. So I do have my pattern pieces. I have my side, my bottom, my upper portion, which is, and now if I'm going to make it a backpack, or a sling, I guess you could call it a sling too. I think the difference between a sling is the strap. The sling has one strap and you can sling it over your body, which is almost like to me, a crossbody. I don't know the difference between a crossbody and a sling. Maybe they just call it different things. But anyway, it's so right now the pieces I have, besides the strap, which what else? Oh, I'm gonna make a D-ring connector. Because I could just put a D ring on the sides at the zipper, and that'd be good. But if I wanted to make it a little more classy, a little more nicer, then I put a D-ring connector on the side pieces, right? Which means I then would have to decide how far down on the side do I want the D-ring connector, and what type do I want? Do I want it to be one that goes all the way down, or do I want it to just be up at the top? So these are things that if these people put this type of thing in a pattern, giving you options like that, then yeah, now we talking. Now it's worth 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, whatever, these prices are. But just to have a front, a back, a bottom, and some sides, like on most of these bags, no. Now there are some people, there are some bags out there that might be worth. Now none of them were $10 on no pattern. Okay. But I can think of a couple of patterns. I bought a pattern that, even though I didn't make it completely, I thought was worth that price. But then I didn't even use all that stuff. Like, it was a water bag, and then on the front it had these slip pocket portion where you put your cards, and and I'm gonna be honest, that bag probably worked. It was definitely worth that. And I did buy it, although I didn't make that. I made the bag. I adjusted it though. That's why I didn't think it's for me to buy it. I didn't even, the stuff that I thought was worth the price is what was too time consuming with the bag, and it made the bag cost too much. You see what I'm saying? So I had to think about that and think about my customers. Are they going to spend $50 on a bag that just holds a water container? You know what I mean? And even though it is a good idea and those bags are good, those bags, $50, no. Okay? Now, if you're going to Disney, you was able to put your credit cards and everything in that bag, plus hold your water in that bag. Somebody made an adjustment to it to make it really worth it, because if you could put a cup in it with a top and not spill over, that's even better. Okay. Yeah, I feel like something bothering me. I feel like I'm being bothered right now. Anyway, so I had to decide, how do I want this to sit on the back? Do I want to put a tab at the top where I add the either the O-ring or the D-ring, so it could be on a backpack? Right? So, and how large do I want that piece? Do I want it to be a certain shape? Do I want it to be, and so this is a coffin, right? And so I was thinking about, what can I add to it to make it special? I was thinking about embroidering maybe a cross on it, or my Ouija board on it. I could put, there's many things I can embroider on it, or I could find fabrics that would be great for Halloween that would go good with this. I don't have any fabrics. I'm not buying any. I'm going to take me some regular fabrics. I do have an embroidery machine, and I do have a vinyl cutter, and I'm going to start. I got to get rid of some of these solid colors. So I'm going to start putting stuff on it to create what I want to create. Okay. But I do need to make this a backpack, which means I do need some D-ring connectors. And I am going to add a D connector on the sides in order to be a crossbody as well. Maybe. I'm not sure about that. This is if I'm making this for myself, I don't know if I'm gonna make this a crossbody. Honestly, I don't think I'm gonna wear it as a backpack, but what I do know is once I make it, whether I use it or not, one of my sons will definitely like it. And they never gonna wear it as a cross your body. They are boys, they're never gonna wear it like that. Well, should I say they're men, right? They're never gonna wear it as a crossbody. Not them. There are some men who wear crossbodies. My sons will not. And therefore, I'm not going to make it a crossbody. But I did want to put the crossbody, wanted to design it in case I sell it, right? And when you're making your first one, you do want it to be where people can look at it and they may want to purchase one, right? So let me think about it. Either way, the D-ring connector on the side, if I can make a long strip that goes all the way from the bottom, it'll help also in the bottom, right? So it'll be anchored to the bottom if I make it a strip that's all the way along the side panel. That gives it some stability, right? Or I can just make a D-ring that just I attach to the side panel at the top. And if I do it that way, I'm using 1-inch hardware, and therefore I'm thinking I need to be 3 inches. If you're making 1-inch hardware that I need to fold, that's 3 inches, right? So I would need, let me make a, let me do 3 inches here. Let's see. Even though I don't need this, y'all, but they help me keep it straight. It's gonna be my D-ring connectors. Let me see. It's gonna be 3 by 3. I think I'm gonna do a 3 by 3, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna want to go fully down yet. So first we're just gonna do the 3. We're gonna do 3 inches. Okay, I have an idea. So it depends. So I'm trying to see how I saw someone who made something similar to this, and she did have a strip going all the way up, and I thought that was cute. Honestly, though, I wouldn't have done that. But the reason it was cute on hers is because she was using regular fabric on the front. But I'm going to be using vinyl. But if I did use fabric on the front, which I could, right? It still look good. If I use fabric on the front, then I will use, I will anchor it all the way to the bottom, right? I will do that. And one of the main reasons is because I think fabric is a little weaker, and it's also easier for me to anchor it by sewing down it without me going to my domestic, my Juki, right? My industrial. So if I use fabric, then I am going to go the length of this side. And I think I remember this side being, what, 8 inches, 7 inches. Let me see. It's like 7 1/4. We're gonna go 7 1/2. 7 1/2. I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah. And 3 inches, because I know my hardware is 1 inch. 1, 2, 3 right here, but we go 3 inches. Okay. I'm gonna add my seam. I don't need seam allowance for this, right? No seam allowance. That's why, because this is a piece that's gonna be folded. It's 3 inches because I want it to be 1 inch wide. The reason it's 3 inches because I'm gonna take half of that 3 inches up. Then I'm gonna take the 2 sides and go in. So that's gonna take it's gonna be a 1/2 inch on this side, 1/2 inch on that side, right? That's gonna turn this into 1 inch. Okay, so 3 inches. I don't need any seam allowance or anything, because that's how you get rid of the raw edges, right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end up sewing it on the sides. Bring it down here. Okay. This is my D-ring connector. And I'm gonna say side one is there, D-ring. And I need to cut 2. Okay. Now, if I was doing it with regular fabric, I could still do it that way, but with this, so I'm gonna need that piece cut out. D-ring connectors cut 2. And now I need the D-ring connector for the back if I'm making it a back. And now, what shape do I want? So I could put a flap up here, or I can just add the D-ring connector to the very back with D-ring connectors. So there's a couple of ways to do it, right? And so let me think. I think if I have a piece going from it, might take away from it being a coffin. So I'm gonna just connect the D-ring connector to the back. At the top, but at the bottom though, because the bottom is so narrow, right? Because it's coffin, I am going to add some pieces that comes out a little farther. And what shape do I want that to be? If I make a square and I curve it, I can make it like, so let me cut these pieces that I have so far, and then we'll, now I do have a, make your own patterns, everybody, okay? Add, just when you're first starting out, add the seam allowance to the pattern piece. That way there will be no confusion. For those who are a little more, you know, if you're going to remember, I have a bad memory. I'll be honest. Okay, I can even write on a piece to add a seam allowance, and I still forget to add seam allowance. Okay, so that's because when I'm in the midst of me making what I'm making, I'm really not reading the pieces like I should be. I just this is the zipper panel. Let's cut 2 of the main lining, interfacing, and stabilizing. Okay. If anybody would like this pattern, I may offer it, and it will not be $10, that's for sure. Okay. And I will have your D-ring connectors. I will have your strap. If you want the straps in a pattern piece, I will do that as well. Maybe a couple of options on the D-ring connectors. And that way it'll only be a couple of dollars. If anybody want to make this pattern and you don't have a time machine, it gotta be enough of you do. I can't do this for one person. Not only that, but we could do it together. Like we could get in the Zoom, and I can help you create this bag by teaching you the certain stitches, right? Oh, did I drop the phone? Be going live soon, yeah. Work hard. The bottom piece. I'm gonna show you how the pieces line up when I cut these out. That's why I'm have an individual shadow and show y'all when I'm reading. And when you're cutting the pattern pieces out, they don't have to be exact, you know, right? But when you're cutting your pattern pieces out, look out of the fabric, that's when you want it to be very close. So I'm not cutting directly on the line, but when I do add this to the fabric, that's usually when I go closer to the line then, right? Because I'm gonna be honest, I'm not as patient. I'm not anal, and so when it's not important, I don't make it seem like it's that important. Just do what's to me. I'm gonna do that for now. I'm gonna leave the D-ring for the now. Okay, so this is essentially the size of the book. That's as far as front to back. Okay. It's not very big, but it is a nice size. You could put foam in it, and I'm not sure. Also, if I want to make it bigger, I could. Okay. I'm gonna test it. I don't know if it's gonna be what size it's gonna look like until I sew it up, to be honest, right? I do know for a fact my phone could fit in both this way and this way. I do know that there's some in-depthness. I do know that I'm gonna make the zipper go from here to here. Now, there is another option where I can make the zipper go all the way around and you open it all the way up. But I don't want to do that. Okay, so I could put a slip pocket in here. That's what I got to decide about the inside. But I'm going to be honest, when it comes to pockets inside of something that's oddly shaped and that is not very big, it's really a waste of your time. Okay. This is not a bag people are going to be using all year round. I think it's a novelty bag. I think around Halloween, and there's some people, when they go to different venues, the people the people into flat, pin them, they're into stuff like this, right? They probably are like a bag like this. That's why it's going to be a valuable bag, right? There's a niche for this type of stuff, but everybody's not going to like this type of stuff because I just want to create something different. I like creativity, right? And so that's why I'm making it. Am I into coffins and things? I am not. Okay. I'm not against it either. Okay, so this pattern piece, right? And this is the side panels. And if I line that up, this is how you know if it's going to fit. Because even on paper, it fits. Oh, yeah, I don't think I ever see. It lines right up. Okay. Now, it lines up. It's okay that it's a little bigger. And the reason it's a little bigger is because that's the way things are built. Remember, they're gonna be a zipper here. So the truth be told, from there to there, it's supposed to be a little bigger, right? Because it's at an angle. Let me show you. I put that there. I put that there. Based on this corner, it looks like it's a little bigger. I'm not sure if you can see that. See, because the corner ends here, but you see the bag is way down here though. And this is way down there. So actually, it lines up. This is the size of the sides, but because of the angle. So once I sew that there, and then I come on the side and sew it on this side as well, gonna line up perfectly, and then you're gonna cut off the excess. So it's gonna be a little bit right up here that cuts off, and a little bit on that side. Okay, so that lines up just like it's supposed to. This is the bottom panel. And when I put the bottom panel, see if I put the bottom panel on this right way, it doesn't fit. But when I put it this way, it fits exactly the way it should fit. That, uh-oh, I unplugged it. Damn. Oh, it's gonna end, y'all. And when it ends, when I'm nobody up here with me, it may cancel. It may end the whole stream, I'm not sure. Okay, so this fits perfectly. So the bottom is perfect, the side is perfect. This is the zipper panel. And this is hello. Hold on. Send a voicemail. Press 2. Hello.
Hey, your battery went out?
Yeah. I should be back on now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna just turn this up and then we could go live if y'all want to. On the other channel. Yeah. Okay. Okay, bye. Sorry about that, y'all. Lordy. Give me a second. Okay. All right. All right. Say ZIPPER. Yo. ZIPPER. Yo. Zip. I'm gonna be messing around. Sorry about that. Yeah, listen. Yeah, when I'm on Zoom, soon as maybe I can buy a battery for this thing. I'm gonna just have to buy another one. Honestly, I'm not looking to buy no new laptop. This thing is only 2 years old. Okay. No. Bought it in 2019. No, 20. I bought this thing in 20. It's 23. 3 years. It's been. I bought it in January, February of 2020. It was right before the COVID hit, but it was after my mother passed away. In fact, yeah. And I've been having this problem for a while now. It does tell me to do an update, and maybe with the update, it may fix this issue because this is an internal issue, right? It's like a battery issue, and there is nowhere to replace the battery on this laptop. They stopped making those laptops like that. First of all, people wasn't even replacing batteries, like not on a massive scale, you know what I mean? But it's my fault. I'm assuming maybe because I never unplugged it as much and kept it plugged. But that shouldn't be true today. You know, technology has changed for many years. Remember when they used to say you got to turn off the TV because it'll burn into the screen? All of that stuff is obsolete these days. You know, depending on what type of TV you have. So there's no way I should be having this problem. But the reason I won't update the computer though, right? It is asking me to do updates. And it is because I have a program that cost $5,000, but I didn't buy it. I have a $5,000 program on this computer, and I'm scared with the update of Windows. I'm scared I will lose it, and I'm gonna be honest. I would rather go buy a new computer for a couple of $100 than to lose $5,000 software. Okay, it is an embroidery. In fact, in total, I probably have $10,000 worth of embroidery software on this computer, and I didn't buy it. I did buy it, but I didn't buy it, right? I bought it for I think I paid $75 for one. It's a $4,000 program, 4,000, close to $5,000 software. I paid $75 for. And the other one, I didn't pay at all. I didn't pay for it at all, right? So do I lose software that's worth damn near $10,000? Or do I just go buy a new laptop? a new laptop that's gonna cost me $400-500. So I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm not ever updating this laptop. Okay. Yeah. Unless I could find, if I could find that software again, I don't even want to pay $75 for it again. But if I had to, and it was up to date to the new Windows, this thing been telling me to update since they released the new Windows. But even before that, HP was telling me to do some updates. Now the HP updates, I could do the HP updates, but the Windows updates, I don't trust no Windows updates. My husband is downstairs on a laptop. I bought that laptop. 2 months later, Windows had an update, and we was never able to use that laptop again. I took that laptop to the Microsoft store. I called HP. They could not get the the part where the mouse, but it's on the laptop. It's on the laptop itself. What is it called? It's like a pad that's on the laptop, so you don't need a mouse, right? That stopped working on that laptop. That laptop was brand new. Now, my son did an update. I let him use my laptop because I wouldn't take the update. I wouldn't take it. I kept saying no update, no update, no update. I don't let the updates come until I read through the updates. So you can't don't let things just update on y'all. Y'all gotta stop doing that. People do that. They be like, oh, it's an update. And so they take these updates, but you need to read the update because you may not need the update, right? HP might let out an update, but the update may not even be for your computer. But just because they push out a HP update and then everybody take these updates, first of all, it clogs up your memory if you didn't need the update. Apple does the same thing. Like Apple pushes out an update, and then, but I may not have the new phone. I may not have the new Apple. The update is for the new Apple phones for a majority. Now, sometimes they may have some updates that may fix your Apple phone also, and then you can decide on which updates to accept and not, especially with your computer. You can go through and just get the updates that your device needs. Okay. And so my son did the update. Even after he did the update, and then I couldn't reverse it because he had my laptop for like 30 days. And I didn't have any, remember the laptop was new, so I had never set up points where I can reverse it to. And because I hadn't done that yet, he did the update, and there was nothing I could do. Now, the only thing I could have done is set it back to factory, right? Yeah, I could have set it back to factory. I can't remember why I didn't do that. Or did I do that? No, I never set it back to factory. And I think I could have set it back to factory, but I didn't do that. Okay. Okay, let me get back to this. I think I showed y'all everything, right? Did I show you all the pieces lined up together? And so the only pieces that I need for this is depending on how I'm gonna do the D-ring, right? If I'm making a crossbody, am I gonna make it a backpack? And so, but that's it. And those pieces, normally people don't add those pieces. They'll just give you the sizes. But I think I'm going to I think when I do those pieces, I'm going to make them look like mini coffins too. That's a good idea. See, that's the good thing about making your own stuff. You become creative. I am a creative person. And so the D-ring connectors will look, I'm going to have a shape like a coffin, not just a, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Let me see what that looks like. Like mini coffin shapes. And yeah. I'm gonna just take, let me see. Anyway, y'all, we're gonna go live on the bomb chip juice. I don't really know what y'all want to talk about, but I guess we'll figure it out, baby. We'll figure it out. Okay. If y'all want to sew something, I did ask y'all on a poll, and there was a couple of people who was willing to sew by hand, but yeah, I mean, we can sew by hand. I think y'all like it. I'm not gonna like it, but I can do it. Okay. I'll be honest with you. I'm impatient, man. And then, oh man, I'm one of the people that if I leave the project might get left forever, right? I'm not one of the people who like to go back and forth to the same project over and over and over again. You know what I mean? So hand sewing, that's something that and I understand. Like, look, if I didn't have the sewing machines, then I wouldn't have no problem. But I do have the sewing machine, so that's, you know, look, when they have sales on sewing machines, I'm like, y'all know, I already gave y'all some options on where to go get sewing machines if you want them. Where you could pay monthly, and the monthly fee might be like $30 a month for 5 months. That's only when you catch it on 5 months pay installments. But if you catch it on like 3 months installments, then of course you know you're gonna pay more for those 3 months than you would have for 5 months, right? So where it might be $30, $40 for 5 months, now it may cost you $80 for 3 months. You can get a sewing machine for $200. It doesn't need to be a computerized sewing machine, but there's some benefits to computerized sewing machines. But to be honest, once you get the hang of a non-computerized sewing machine, it will be no problem. You know what I mean? Like adjusting the tension is something you got to do on almost all machines anyway. It's mostly your stitch length, right? You just got to figure out how to do the stitch length, which is a dial. I do the same thing every time I touch them buttons. That's me adjusting my stitch length. The difference is on a computerized sewing machine, I may have to press 1 or 2 buttons, whoop, whoop, like make it 03, because I want the stitch length number 3. On a non-computerized sewing machine, which is called a mechanical, right? Those machines, you have to just turn the dial to the 3. You know what I mean? But you may have to turn the dial to a 3, and you may have to turn another dial to the right. You see? But that's it. So on one machine, you might have to press 2 buttons. On the other machine, you have to turn 2 dials. Okay, so I'm gonna be out. I think that the mechanical machine, you could get a good sturdy mechanical machine that will sew through some of these vinyls. I think that I do think that the computerized machines, though, in order for you to get a good one that's sold through vinyl, you're gonna pay more money. You're gonna go closer to the $800 to $1,000 range. But with a mechanical machine, you could pay $300 and it'll do the same thing that $900 machine will do. So that is the differences that I learned. But I'm gonna be honest, when my first mechanical machine is the one downstairs that I got like 5 years ago. That's my first computerized machine. I'm sorry. And it was because I was scared. I kept saying, oh, I don't know about adjusting my seam, I didn't know about adjusting my seam lengths, the length of the seam and things like that. Because I hadn't been sewing in a while. I was like, I'm gonna jump back in here and I'm gonna take the easiest route. But looking back at it, I could have saved myself some money. Yes. So I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I'm gonna tell y'all both sides. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna come back. Let me turn this thing off. Boop, boop. I think Leaky just woke up because I heard the door open. Okay, we're gonna be back on the bomb chair. We'll come up with something to talk about. We got a lot to talk about something. I don't know what, but